everybody, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast with me, Sips, and Piri and Flax.
Hello.
Bow, bow, bow. Had a week off. It was nice. What episode is this number? What are we doing?
This is 99.4, baby.
Every week we record this. We're frozen in like a sleep casket for the week, and then they thaw us out about 5 minutes before the show every week.
Slap us awake.
Get our juices flowing and
It's
stuff.
at the start of most sci-fi movies set in space.
Yeah, and then we deliver our podcast, whatever number it is, for like an hour or so, and the whole time we're trying to figure out ways to go out and see what's going on outside and stuff before the man comes back and freezes us for the rest of the week. And that's our trouble. That's our strife. That's what we do. That's every week. It's like a living hell.
I love that, actually.
Yeah.
I love that trope of the frozen guy wakes up and
Yeah,
everything's gone to shit on some horrible dystopian thing.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like forced to do a podcast, and then you're forced to stream for a couple hours.
Here in the future, we have no entertainment.
What does he do
You have
for the
been
rest of the week?
frozen from the 21st century because your podcast, our historians have gauged, was the greatest podcast of all time. You must bring peace to the world.
That's it. It's the best
Morning.
podcast of all time.
Defrosting Sips.
There's no way for anyone to live forever, but they want the podcast to go on forever for the next hundreds of thousands of years. So what they do is they thaw us out for 2 hours a week to deliver the podcast, and then we're on ice the rest of the time.
God,
And
you imagine?
Sorry,
that's how
Sips.
generation after generation after generation we keep on steadily delivering. It's crazy, isn't it?
Because we've been
The
doing it for so
universe
long. That's
has
why we
not
keep
been
thinking.
destroyed.
We keep thinking. I'm sure we've said this before because actually
Yeah.
we've
have
done
said it
millions of
so many
episodes of
times before.
Triforce. It's just that we get frozen. I'm playing
Yes,
a game at the
deja vu.
moment called Outer Wilds.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
that's really good, actually.
It's excellent. It's
I played it ages
It's
ago.
like something to do with the world ending, and you have a certain amount of time to do stuff before the sun supernovas or something, right?
kind
And then
of.
it
Yeah.
keeps looping
yeah.
back.
It's like a
Yeah,
little,
so
you
you're
go
sort of in a
little loop.
time loop, and if you die, you go back, and it's like nothing happened. So you can play out your day again, sort of thing.
That's awesome.
But you remember, so you're gradually unraveling stuff, and it kind of made me think about when I've been
This
really
podcast.
bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking this podcast is essentially I do a bunch of stuff and then I forget it all and then I wind back and it's the same podcast. I wake up, I do the podcast, and then my life is just the same. And
It's a common mechanic for a game.
No, it's not.
And it is actually.
No,
I've
it's
played
not.
quite a few things that are similar to it.
Well, yeah,
But
you would have. You're fucking scraping the barrel every week. With, today
It's an
I bet you
explorative
have played
game.
about 1,000 games like that.
In the sense that it doesn't have objectives and a quest tracker. You're just left to sort of do what you want, and you've got a sort of journal that you unpick a story, and it's very cleverly done. It's this guy's labour of love. He spent about 5 years on it,
Nice.
and I played it about 3 or 4 years ago in
Is it that
some
old?
form. No, but it's been taken by various people over the years and iterated on and improved upon. And the version I'm playing right now is unrecognizable from what I played years ago. But no, it's a great little game. I recommend it. I recommend it to anyone. If you like exploring a little solar system and discovering all these crazy mysteries and land on planets. It's exciting.
Man, I like
It's great.
mysteries. I like solving mysteries.
There's
That's
a lot
one
of
thing I
mystery
do
to it.
like. I like
There's a lot of
a good
mysteries.
mystery.
It's great.
It kind of reminds me, do you remember when you quit Dota, Lewis, and you said that it felt like every day you were just doing the same thing? You'd get home from work, you'd load up Dota, and we just play. And it made me realize I'm basically this guy, but I'm not unraveling
Trapped in
a
a time
mystery.
loop.
I'm
You're
just
in a time
I'm
loop.
just in a time loop. I do pretty much the same things all the time.
Well, lots of people are in time loops, right? Where that's what they do. They get up, they go to work, they go to school, or they do the same thing.
Yeah.
They eat the same thing for breakfast.
Right.
They have a shower. They they do the same routine every day. And it's about, and happiness is about. Happiness isn't the opposite of sadness. Happiness is the opposite of boredom, right? Happiness is the opposite. It's like trying
what
to.
nugget has this? Where has this nugget been gleamed from?
I can't remember.
I think
Someone
nugget is the
smarter than me.
right term for this as well.
It's a nugget,
Carry on.
right?
It's about like forming positive habits if you're going to do them, but also like breaking out of routines to give yourself like a bit of excitement, a bit of something different every day. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, but do you
It's-
know what?
it's good.
Like, playing Outer Wilds made me realize that more often than not in a game, when I die and I go back to the beginning, I'm pissed off. Like if that's the game where it's like, well, all your progress is lost, you go back, you know, you're alive again. Whereas in Outer Wilds, you don't feel that because there's always something new out there to explore. And it kind of made me think what an interesting philosophy that is for
Stanley
life.
Parable is a bit like that too, isn't it? But
Yes.
it's a little bit darker. It's like more psychological, I guess, than
I like that too, though. I like all these.
Stanley
these
Parable
types
is
of
really
things.
good, yeah.
Man, so no, I went on holiday this week.
Where'd you go?
And I went to Rome.
What do you think?
The city of
Angels.
dreams. I don't know. Was it the Eternal City? God knows what
I
it's
don't
called.
think is it the
Stupid
Eternal
names.
City? Maybe it is.
What's it
It's
called?
been there
It's
for
Nice.
fucking ever.
It's an interesting place, though, isn't it? Lots of history.
Yeah.
Super interesting
Lots of
place.
Italians as well.
So I will obviously like. Okay, first of all, being a tourist, I think feels like a dirty word. I think of tourist as like a future insult, right? People will be like, "You fucking tourist." I mean, it is basically an
it
insult.
is now, yeah,
Anyway,
kind of insulting.
and I went and did all the touristy shit, and all the touristy shit was horrible because of the amount of fucking people there.
It's a lot of people.
And just that's just you can't avoid it. You know, the Colosseum and the Vatican City, they're rammed. You're like on a conveyor belt as you walk through, and it's like so many fucking people, and they're very epic to see. But it's kind of like you look up and you're like, wow, and then you're instantly like worried about being jostled by the
Yeah.
guy in front of you and stuff.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
fuck me.
The
So
guys
it's
in the
hell of an
the
experience.
Sistine Chapel, right? They're with the Leonardo DiCaprio painted that amazing ceiling, didn't he?
Yeah,
yeah,
in the movie The
with
Departed.
with the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Fair
Turtles.
play
Yeah.
to him. He when you're in there, did you see the guys that had just paid to shush people?
Shushers.
That was my
Well,
literal
because you're not allowed
shushes.
to take pictures in there either.
Yeah, but they just walk around going shh. Shh.
When do you get to the point in your life where that job is okay to do? Where you decide, you know what, I'm cool with this. Like I'm
Shushes.
not even bored by this anymore. I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna diligently shush people.
How
I'm
do
never
you-
gonna have any
how do you
ambitions
post
above
a job
this.
ad for that as well.
Wanted shushers
Yeah.
must be extremely opposed to
Are
noise.
they all old?
No, they were
I would
young
imagine
guys.
that if you're like 60 years old, that's a pretty cool job.
No, they
I
were
guess
young
like
guys.
previous experience in a library, you know, or like in a school.
Yeah.
huge
Goddamn.
ears and a really good hearing. So
I mean, if you've got
Yeah.
kids, you're pretty good at shushing already. Like you're pretty much shushing all the goddamn time.
Do you reckon like you could apply if you were one of those guys? Because there's other weird jobs, right? Like squeezing people into subway trains. Like I think they're called
Pushers.
or
Yeah.
They like
Yeah.
Do you reckon a pusher could like adapt to being a shusher?
it's
I
very
reckon,
different.
like,
Very
it's
different. But I
very-
think
yeah.
you
It
have to have
sounds
a
close.
you have to
Totally
basically
different skill
hate
set.
the public. I think is the thing. Like you can tell they don't like
Well,
the
in
public.
both cases, you probably.
If
do.
you have to shush people all day, you'd see the worst of people. Don't you shush me, you asshole! Yeah, you know what I mean. You get that reaction occasionally. Of course, you
Pushers
just
have
shush them
to
again.
touch people though too, which is
Yeah, they
kinda
do.
Gross.
But again, I think if you dislike people, you either have to want to grope people, so you could employ perverts, or you have to
Right.
hate people and enjoy shoving them. Get away from me! Those are the two
Yeah.
kinds
This
of
is
people.
why I could never work in anything that is either in hospitality where you have to like deal with people.
Because
every
you're a
day,
pervert.
'cause
Is that where you're going with this?
Most
Yeah.
of them are. I'd want to push them. Yeah, I'd want to give them. I'd want
Because
to give
when
them
you
a shot.
push, you want the result to be murder, not just getting onto a train. That's why.
But equally, people are just assholes. I think for every nice guy, you get an asshole. I went to like Rome Zoo, and you go to like the fucking through this air, and it's like this is the dark room. Don't flash your camera in here. And who's in front of me? A fucking parent with taking flash photographs of their kids. Who's behind me? A guy with his camera phone with like super bright fucking volume. Like, can't see anything in here. Get my phone. Get your flashlight out. I'm like, for fuck's sake, what am I looking like? People. Hell is other people.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me so angry seeing that kind of shit, man.
It is, but like you gotta look at it from the other side too. Like, why the fuck can't you take a picture? Like, what's the big fucking deal that you can't take a flash picture? Who gives a shit?
In the fucking
You're in a
dark
fucking
room.
zoo. Who cares? Like, fucking just let people take their dumb pictures. You know they're gonna do it anyway.
Maybe
Like, you're
it's-
just
maybe
asking
it-
for trouble, putting up a sign saying
Maybe it
don't do something.
distresses the animals.
I'm talking about the animals that are like nocturnal animals, like a fucking
So
thing
don't
with
fucking
huge eyes.
capture them and
that-
put them into captivity in the first place.
So what you're saying
then
is,
it's not a problem, is it?
don't have a zoo. Like, because some people are dickheads.
Fucking
no
zoos
zoo.
are kind of dumb anyway, aren't they? No,
I'm
like,
not a big fan of zoos.
Oh, let's make
Yeah.
them blind as well then. Fucking hell.
Blind the animals.
Jesus
What do they
Christ.
care? They're stupid animals anyway. They don't
I
need
mean,
their
I don't
eyes.
think we should
Poor
traumatize animals
things.
more than they already are.
They're out
Like,
there and their habitat is under threat because people are stupid, and then we put them into a zoo where they are subjected to even more stupid people. Like, what chance do they have? It's crazy. Fucking people. You're right though. Hell is other people, but at the same time, we don't fucking make it any easier for ourselves with all these stupid ass rules, like all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you put a sign up say not to do something, fucking everybody's gonna do it, aren't they? Like, it's just
I
human
don't know
nature.
if that's true.
Nobody tells me what to do. I'm gonna take a fucking flash photograph. Like, it fucking happens all the time.
yeah, it's true. Is my audio fucked? Hang on, should we
Yeah,
restart?
you've gone all
Yeah.
robot-y.
All right.
Like a Rome touristy robot. I
Do not
had
take
a
flash
nice
pictures.
time in Rome.
You know, it is the city of love, the eternal city, and the
Yeah.
city of the seven hills.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to take someone somewhere on holiday, you don't say we're going to the city of the seven hills. Why would they go with that one?
Doesn't
Eternal
San
city
Francisco
and
have
city
like
of love.
7 fucking hills?
Loads of places got seven fucking hills. You can find seven hills all over the place. What I'm saying is
Anyway,
that's a bad nickname.
Can I also say,
Westeros
like,
has 7 kingdoms and 7 hells as well. Think
True.
about that one.
Rome was fine. Like, I feel like a little bit like it's run by Italians who are a little bit. I don't know if their economy is at breaking point or if they're like just a little bit lazy and it's just like the Italian way of living
Come
where
on,
they're
I
just a
think
little bit
it's-
laid
I think
back.
Italy's doing
But
fine. They're like-
everything is just a bit shit. Bearing in mind that the Colosseum is like fucking the most popular tourist attraction in the world. Like every year, it gets like 7.5 billion people. It's the most visited place. Bearing in mind that the ticketing system is completely AIDS to the point where you kind of have to like this. The streets are filled with. I guess it's like this in every major city, okay. But the streets are filled with these guys saying, skip the line. There's like loads of people who are wearing like things that say staff or official, but they're not actually staff or not actually official. And they're trying to hawk you like skip the line tickets or like tour tickets or all sorts of extra crap because the queues to get into these places are so unmanaged and messy, and getting tickets officially is such a ball ache. And there's like, okay, let me talk about Rome for a second. First of all, Rome, what the fuck is it with toilet seats? Okay, what year are we living in, right? I don't think I found a single toilet seat in Rome. And it's not that they're building toilets without toilet seats. Every toilet has its toilet seat ripped off. Is there like some sort of gang of people going around, ripping off fucking toilet
it's the guy
seats?
who's in the fucking nocturnal animal enclosure taking pictures. He's the guy who's also taking
I need
the
an
toilet.
explanation for this because it's insane. Like I went to some of the biggest tourist attractions, and also I tried to get off the beaten path a bit and went to some much nicer places. And I went to some amazing like palaces and art galleries where no one was there, and they were fucking beautiful. But the toilets were like something from like from fucking Roman times. They probably had better toilets in fucking Roman times.
Man,
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
In Roman times, we had underfloor heating and mosaics, and we had flush toilets. Why don't you have them now? Like, what's going on?
In general, like, how often do you leave your house? Because I find it weird that like you're surprised by tourist attractions being garbage and public toilets being substandard as well.
I'm a 35-year-old man.
How is this new to you at all?
I'm on a regular schedule now, right? I can't hold my poop all day. I'm not like a fucking 20-year-old I have to poop like once a day.
Well, man, like how often have you traveled before? Like you got to know not to like stray too far from your hotel for too long. Like you don't go somewhere because then you have to go back every once in a while, have a snack and a poop, or like, you know, go to the toilet and just have a little rest and stuff.
You have to do like a figure 8 of your hotel. You know,
pretty
you go
much,
out, come back, go out, come back. Yeah.
Well, if you're sensible, you would.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? That is smart. But I didn't do that this time because my hotel was kind of on the outskirts. So I sort of spent the day walking around because it was nice enough weather. And I went to little gardens and stuff. Anyway, you know, every fucking coffee shop I'm like, oh God, I eat this shit. So I find a coffee shop, but of course, it's a really nice coffee shop. The toilet is like just a fucking disaster area.
Well,
I'm
listen,
like, fuck me. wee. There was no way to predict it as well.
I've only had good toilet experiences in Rome, and I'll share one with you right now. Are you ready for
Okay,
this?
no, let's
I
go
can't
for it.
believe you guys have remembered your
No,
toilet experience.
this is a very memorable experience for me.
What was his name?
We were on a train trip across all of Europe. Okay, and the way that we did it was we'd pick the next city we went to. We did one city a day. Okay, so we go to a major city, and then the way that we picked our next city was what's the furthest away that we could take a train overnight and sleep on the train, arrive in the city like first thing in the morning, spend all day in that
You
city.
What an
definitely-
amazing strategy.
You have definitely told this before on Triforce.
Okay,
by the way, just saying.
that was the strategy, right? But what happened was because we were traveling overnight a lot and stuff, we didn't really have a lot of time to like wash, right? So like I think in 2 weeks I took like 2 showers, okay?
This is the figure of 8 strategy. This is where you came up with it, isn't it? On
Right.
this fucking train.
Uh,
You were like, don't stray too far from the
partly.
train because we're going to be back on it to sleep
Partly.
and have a shit.
So we're on an Italian train, like an overnight train, and then with an aim to arrive in Rome in the morning, right? And the Italian trains are like pretty creepy. They've got like there's like a picture.
Creepy.
Yeah, it's like we were on a sleeper train, and there's the ceiling, like in your little pod, had a picture of Jesus on it, I guess, so you could just like look at Jesus for a bit before you went to sleep and stuff.
I mean,
And
he's
it was-
watching you anyway, so you may as well have a look back,
it was
right?
it was a little bit creepy. So I got into my little Jesus sleeper, and I was like, all right. I mean, I haven't had a shower for a couple of days. This isn't looking too good. I'm probably not going to be having a shower today, right? But I was really stinky, and I was like, fuck, I could really do with having a shower. So we get to the train station in Rome, and we're like, all right, let's look around like for a bathroom before we like get going or whatever. See if we can just like, freshen up a bit, sort of thing. And then I see like a sign with a shower. It's like, holy shit, there's showers like in the train station. And there's like a bit of a queue. So we're like, fuck it, let's try it. Even if it's super bad, just leave your flip-flops on or whatever and just wash under your armpits quickly and then we'll get out of here. Be like 2 seconds sort of thing. So we're standing in this queue and we get to the lady. There's a lady sitting there and there's people everywhere dressed up like in, staff clothing or whatever. Like, holy shit, like what the fuck is this place? And she's like, okay, it's like €2. We're like, what, fuck, really, €2? So all right, whatever, €2. So this guy like takes my bag and leads me down this hallway. I was like, what the fuck? And then he sort of dumps me in this room and
Gets the hose.
there's a toilet and a sink. And I was like,
Sprays you.
okay, perfect. This is great. Like I'll just wash in the sink and take a shit or whatever and we're out of here. And then I look in the corner and there's a fucking like, it was like a wet room. There's a drain in the corner and there's a shower just like in the middle of the ceiling. It's like, oh my God, this is fucking incredible. My own room. This like beautiful shower. I was like going to the bathroom while showering at the same time because the toilet was like part of the wet room and stuff. And there was a sink. I could like brush my teeth and everything. And the seat was on the toilet and it was clean as anything. And it was fucking amazing. It was just like
You tried to open the door and it didn't open.
Yeah.
You banged on the door.
no,
and you were
it was
trapped
it was
in there.
perfect. And it was
was a
it was
little-
the most satisfying
Pushed some
sort of
pizza under the fucking door for
wash.
you later.
That's why it's flat, so they can slide it under doors.
It was a very satisfying personal hygiene experience. Probably the most satisfying I've ever had in my whole life. It was incredible. Man,
What a
I was clean as a
simple
whistle
man.
when I came out of there.
It's the opposite for me. Fuck.
I'm sure those are used on the regular by homeless people.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, it opened my eyes. Like, if I was homeless,
maybe
if I had
guys
to beg
need
people
take
for
a
money,
lesson.
I would definitely put my money
But
towards
did it
that.
have a fucking toilet seat?
Yeah,
I bet
it
you it
did.
fucking didn't.
It had
Oh.
it had a nice toilet seat. It was really clean.
It must have been brand new. I swear to God, okay. Obviously, Rome is beautiful, but there's like I think there's this gang sort of like attitude. Like there's a concerted effort to like knock the heads off every statue, and I realise that that's partly because they're fucking old, partly because when they fall over, because they fall over all the fucking time, people push them over because they're assholes. The heads come off, or the hands come off, or the arms come off, or they hit themselves. Or someone's either hit them in the face and knocked the nose off, or when they've toppled over, they've hit themselves on the nose because the nose is always protruding. So half the fucking statues in Rome look like Voldemort. The rest don't have fucking heads, and there's no toilet seats. I mean, Rome is to me the city of headless fucking statues and no toilet seats. Also, people just driving like into literally Roman architecture. There's like a Roman sort of bit of Roman aqueduct ruins. And people just fucking like this. It's like a 3-lane motorway through that, with no fucking. It's like crazy. And I mean, the other thing about driving in Rome, like obviously it's everyone knows they all just beat their way down one-way streets on mopeds and stuff. But actually, more recklessly was that it really made me take for granted the traffic crossings. Like in America, every road has every junction has
traffic is like a bit more orderly. Like
you can walk in a straight line for an hour and you have to go across like 10 crossings. But in Rome, it's just kind of similar, except there are no traffic lights, right? And there are no
it's a free-for-all
crossings.
Yeah.
And what you've got is like some faded white lines on an 8-lane super motorway, and you just have to fucking Vietnam your way across it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's fucking cars like zip-zapping around you, taxis like beeping you, and you just have to sort of, after a while, you're just like, fuck it, I'm just taking my lives into my own hands. And like, I don't know whether I'm maybe they've got it right, because like they're obviously
driving in Italy is the worst.
It's obviously a decision, right? I went to this big modern art gallery, right, and it had this quite new looking road outside, which was a big fucking 4-lane road, right? And yeah, just flat outside, a big fucking crossing with no lights, nothing, and you just cars zooming past you. And I'm like, they clearly they've chosen not to put traffic lights here. Right? I mean, I get it. Like, when I cross the road here in the UK, like, I see the green man and I just fucking walk. I don't wait for traffic to stop. I don't check or anything.
Really?
And sometimes cars are fucking... Well, a lot of the time,
what are you,
you're
2
like
years
reassured
old?
by that,
You've got
right?
to fucking check. What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm looking a little bit, but sometimes you don't pay as much attention when it says you can go, so you go, right? And I wonder how many accidents are caused in that situation, where on the Italian version, you're fucking fearing for your life like every second of the day. It's like, and you're like, you kind of have to force yourself to not like just keep a steady pace, so cars that are zooming past you know where you're going to be.
We have the second safest roads in Europe, second only to Sweden, because there's just not as many cars in Sweden. Driving in the UK is incredibly safe because people look both ways before they cross the fucking road. And because we have lots of pedestrian crossings and people don't drive like
hedgehog. It was that hedgehog. Do you remember him?
No.
The fucking green cross code hedgehog? He was like, don't get hit by a car, mate, or else you'll get fucking turned into a patty.
Kevin Keegan or someone when I was a kid. Hey, what you doing not looking before you cross the road? Hey, I can't do a Scouse accent, but yeah, that's one of my...
That was pretty good, though. It's better than mine.
So talking about, like, gangs, right, crazy people in Rome, the other major fucking things that were really surprising to me, and I'm sure they're like this in other major cities and in London too, is there's two groups, and I'm kind of trying to be careful not to, like...
You don't want to get
be
involved in a gang
racist about
war,
saying this. Well, no, but... yeah, maybe. But there's like, I think I read about it, right? So there's this group of like Bangladeshi sort of men,
right,
mostly men, who sell selfie sticks and umbrellas.
Yeah.
I saw loads of them at the Colosseum.
Yeah.
There are literally thousands.
I'm pretty sure that one of those guys was the guy that was trying to sell that lady's purse to me that one time. I definitely told this story. I won't tell it again.
The cry of selfie is like, and they're quite pushy, but not that pushy.
Do they still have those stupid dancing Mickey Mouses, the ones that like dance to music?
They have one working one and a box full of broken ones that you can buy.
Yeah.
Well, the current thing that I saw about 100 of was they have a little table, a little wooden table, and they have this squishy like ball. It's like a slime ball with eyes. And you could throw it at the table from high, like as if you're throwing it at the floor, and it splats like a completely flat, on the table and makes like a meh sound, like a meh sound. And it's kind of funny but also annoying, And you could imagine kids just loving it, like little kids seeing that and definitely wanting one. And everywhere from like Spanish Steps to the Trevi Fountains to the Colosseum, there is one of those guys every like 20 yards with a little table, and it's like, meh. And it's like, meh. Like, and you see they're so bored. Their face, they're so fucking bored because they stood there for the whole day boredly throwing this slime ball at this table. And then between them are like selfie stick guys going, selfie. It's like, and they're so, they're not that pushy about it, but they're all they're part of a gang. It's clearly like, I didn't see anyone who wasn't like a kind of Bangladeshi-looking man doing it, right? Doing any of the selfie stick selling, doing any of the...
So there are so many questions here about the setup. Like
I mean,
there
you
must
call
be,
it a gang, they call it a limited company who's just interested in making a.
but there must be. I mean, first of all, these guys have obviously all probably from the same place, right? They probably are all Bangladeshi or something. So there must be a guy, some Bangladeshi ringleader, who started this and then got more of his mates to come over saying,
Yeah.
look, you won't believe how many euros I made just selling these stupid toys I bought from China. Now, where's he getting them from? Is he going on the internet and looking up stupid toy
this is what I've found.
China
There's like
import?
ghost shops, okay, which are like off the like shops that don't have like they look like a house or a front, right?
Right.
But you don't. A little bit like a ghost restaurant. So Deliveroo and these and Uber Eats and all these other big like food transfer companies like Grubhub, I
Yeah.
think is the big one in America. They've caused the rise of these things called ghost restaurants, who are people who sell stuff to those food delivery services, but don't actually have an actual premises, an open restaurant. They just do it out of
Oh,
their
that's
house.
way less interesting than I thought it would be. I thought it would be,
No.
here is your food. You go
It's
to
the
eat
ghost of all the people
knife
who
and
died
fork,
trying to
go
sell
right
selfies.
through the plate.
If you dare.
Ah, yeah, all right, well, that makes
That
more
would be
sense.
fucking
but yeah,
awesome.
less awesome.
No, so there's these like little squares that sometimes you go into, and it's just like it looks like it should be shops, but it is. You could see people shopping in there, but there's no like signage or anything like that. It's all just like off the books, kind of unregulated stuff
Sounds
that
like
sells all that
Sheffield
crap.
Town Centre, if I'm honest with you.
Don't order the curry.
There's no toilet seats. It's gonna be hell later. Oh fucking hell! The amount of squatty shits I had to do. I've never done so many in my life. I mean, I had to do a couple in Japan because they had a few hole in the grounds, and I've had to do a few in France and stuff before, in Germany occasionally.
I just don't go in those toilets. I've got a pretty good timing.
You don't got a choice.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good timing down on my poops.
Have
Yeah,
you?
about 8:30 every day. I wake up, have my cup of tea, have a bit of a vape, and then my stomach goes, "Let's get going," and I'll have a poop.
Well,
Let's
And
rock.
then I'm pretty much good for the rest of the day. I might have one later in the day, maybe, but more often than not.
Oh, man.
treat yourself.
I'm usually like a poop a day. Sometimes
So
like depending.
before we go back
couple
into
of days in
poop,
between.
poop regular chat, there's another gang, okay, who are quite different, okay. And I looked up these guys, and apparently these guys are all from like Senegal,
Right.
okay. And they're these big black guys. They're all big, like 6 foot, and they are super friendly, like big smiles, like hey, how you doing? Like nice to meet you. And they like try and shake your hand or like fist bump you or high five you, and they're like super chatty, really in your face. And they're like, where you from? Blah blah blah. And as soon as they can, like if you like shake their hand, they'll wrap like a bracelet around your wrist.
Yeah, and then ask for money for it.
And then ask for money.
Yeah.
And it is the most obnoxious thing.
It's threatening as fuck too, because you're like worried that they're gonna break your arm or something if you don't pay them.
It's terrifying.
But it's not like a reasonable price for them either. It's like 20 euros.
They want a note,
and you're like, what?
Yeah, they want like a note, like a €5 note or €10 note, and it's like, oh boy. And the thing is, like sometimes, like I started finding myself getting less and less tolerant towards them, okay, as it went on. First of all, I was like, oh, hey, sorry, no, hello.
They're like
okay, no
anti-tourist groups, though, right? Because they teach you as a tourist never to just idle around somewhere. Like,
I never snapped at any of them. I never was like, fuck off. But I was very close to it. I was very, very close to saying, fuck off. Anyway, one time I did actually, because one guy tried to throw one at me, right? Because he wanted me to catch it, and I just dodged and it fell on the floor.
Did
and
you
he was like,
you neo dodge it? This is Lewis in Rome, like bullet timing all these bracelets
well, no,
and
but do
fucking
you know what I mean?
squishy
I sort of,
things
it was
coming
quite
towards him.
it was quite slow mo. I was able to just let it fall on the floor, and because it was raining, you know.
Was he trying to like frisbee it onto your wrist? So you were pointing, and he's like, doom, just throws it.
just trying to lasso you.
Spinning through
with
the air. You spot it the last second. Neo dodging coming. It lands in some guy's coffee. Oh, man, that's the bracelet in my coffee. Ah, mamma mia.
So anyway, this is a bit of a serious story because this really
I'm
stressed
sorry.
me out. It was like
I was pretty
okay.
serious with the coffee. You just ruined a guy's cappuccino.
Sorry, guys. Like, stop making funny jokes about my serious story. No, he fucking. So he goes. So he was like. He's like, oh, you're having a bad day, man. I was terrible
Jamaican
accent.
now,
I'm sorry. He obviously has an accent. I don't want to do it because it's racist, but I feel like it's part of it though, right? Because you can tell that they're all like part of this gang. It feels like, And anyway, so I was like, oh, well, not really. And he's like, oh, do you not like black people, man? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I was just sort of stunned by that. I was like, the reason I don't want to talk to you and buy your fucking bracelet is not because I don't like black people.
I thought you were going to say to him, are you a Triforce listener?
Oh shit, you know me.
But it's just an angle. He just wants to make you feel uncomfortable. That's it.
I know, but it was constant, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it's horribly aggressive.
More like
It's
that
horribly
as well.
aggressive.
And
what I want to know is, why don't we have that in London? What have we put in place to stop that? Because obviously we have something in place. Now, either that it's that our police are more keyed into, if you're selling shit, you got to move the fuck along, because I don't see it anywhere near as much in London as I do, like you said, in places like Rome. And I mean, I've been to some plenty touristy spots in London. There's always fuckloads of tourists in London, and I just don't see them. What are we doing that Rome is not? Are the police getting a little backhander from the gang boss so that it's like, it's cool, we'll give you, thousands of euros a month in exchange for you leaving our dudes alone? Or is there just no law against it? What's the deal?
I don't know.
Because it is fucking obnoxious.
They probably just shuffle
sick beggars
lots
as well.
of people along. Yeah, like it's the same sort of like in America. I guess like Lewis, you went to San Francisco a couple of times, and it's instead of like gangs of people trying to sell you stuff, it's normally like kind of wacky homeless people accosting you from time to time, isn't it?
Well,
I think in big city centers they get
this is
moved
the other
along
thing
a lot
I was
more.
warned about extensively in Rome was pickpockets. Everyone I spoke to said, you got to watch out for pickpockets, you got to watch out for these guys, you got to watch out for scammers, you got to watch out, like there's beggars on the floor who will sort of try and trip you up and stuff, and then try and claim that you stepped on their leg or something, and I saw a lot of that. It felt like nothing I've seen, before. I really felt on edge a lot of the time, like especially around the tourist hotspots. But once I was out of those, actually, it was really totally fine. I had a great time when I was away from those, frankly, overrated, tourist hotspots. Partly because they're ruined by the tourists. It's
the problem with being a tourist and going to somewhere like that is everybody else has had the same fucking idea. Everybody. It's like when people say, are you going to go see Niagara Falls? I'm thinking, I'm sure it's amazing, but there's going to be like thousands of other people there at the same time. And I don't know why it takes something away. I think it's because it reminds you that all the experiences you've had in your life, very few of them are unique to you.
I think
you're all just part of billions of people doing mostly the same shit, in the West at least.
Man-made stuff is different, though, because it's not like, Niagara Falls. Yeah, it'll be busy if you want to go on the boat that goes like right up to it or whatever. But otherwise, it's vast. Like you could fucking see it from anywhere you want, basically. Like you could find a spot, away from everybody and just sit there and look at it as much as you like.
All right. Do you know how many people go to Niagara Falls every year?
How many?
Lots.
Take a guess.
Fucking
5 million.
Millions of people.
Take a guess.
Like,
I did.
I don't know,
5 billion.
5 million?
It's 30 million.
Jesus.
Which means every day you go there, on average, 82,000 people will be there at the same time.
Probably more so in like summer months too.
Yeah, so that's
it's
just
a part of the world
like,
that gets cold.
That's dividing it by 365. So I'm just saying, on any given day, on average, taking seasonal variants out of the equation and holidays and all the rest of it, obviously weekends it's going to be even more. So that number is actually going to be higher on the day you're likely to be going there. 82,000 other people will be having the same fucking idea to go and see Niagara Falls. Isn't that depressing?
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like that when you're there, though. It's not like
because but you're like trying to take a picture of yourself with like Niagara Falls in the background. But what you could see is like literally 100 people also doing that, and it kind of is like I kind of don't want to take a picture of myself with this thing now because I've seen all these other people do it, and now it's like I don't know, it's really it's a mind fuck. Anyway, well, I did have a great time, actually. I really enjoyed getting out to some of these places that weren't just full of people, and they were fucking awesome, actually. And Rome's a really pretty city. Like, it's had a limit on how, like, high it can build, like, to preserve the skyline. So there's no skyscrapers. Nothing's higher than, like, 6 stories, even, like, the super mega rich banks and stuff, and all the corrupt businesses are all, like, even then they can only build a 6-story villa or whatever. And as a result, like the place doesn't feel like it's all full of disgusting, shitty areas. I'm sure there's some. I mean, I only sort of was really in the central like sort of 5 mile, 10 mile radius of it. I'm sure outside on the outskirts there's probably some absolute shitholes. But I thought it was really beautiful to walk around and had a really nice time.
Florence is a very, very beautiful city and far less touristy.
Well, this is what I heard as well. But I was like, I wanted to see the Civ wonders.
Yes, of course.
To be like,
no, I mean you've got to go to Rome,
and then I can go to the better places later. Because I thought if I went to Florence first and then went to Rome, I'd just be like, oh fuck.
Whereas now you'll really appreciate Florence.
I've been to Rome a couple of times. Honestly, like I think I've been to Rome a couple of times. I've never been into the Colosseum. I've never been I've been around the big attractions and stuff, but only really just passing them by, saying, "Oh, look."
Did you get one of those bracelets?
No,
really
funnily
cool.
enough, not in Rome.
I've got like 5.
I got one in Paris one time.
Off.
I went to Paris and I got one of those bracelets. The guy just like sort of surprised me. I was coming out of like the metro, and he just like sort of jumped me and slapped this thing on my wrist, and I wasn't ready. So I was like, all right, you got me. Here you go. Good game. I gave him some money. That's like
you got to congratulate those guys for their.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I think at some point I definitely stopped visiting big tourist attractions because of all the reasons you've listed. I think it just in your mind you think, fuck, I have to see these places. Like they must be important. Everybody raves on about them, and you get there and you realize that it's just like. Everybody's doing this. It's taken away all of the interesting bits of it because I hate people.
It's either bigger or smaller than you expected, and there's more people there than you realized there would ever be ever.
The most fun I've had on trips and cities that I visited and stuff is doing like what you said, like getting off the beaten track, and just like trying to like experience like the culture of the city, like, how people sort of live there every day. Rather than going to like big tourist attractions and stuff. And that's always you always have that experience. You always leave that experience feeling like, oh, this was great. I really enjoyed myself. It was nice.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever come away from visiting a big tourist attraction and been like, that was totally worth it. If anything, I've always come away feeling like, fuck, why did I waste my time on this? Like
some of the best things I found were like just completely bumped into when you were going around somewhere that you got slightly sidetracked, like you walked a couple of streets. Thing is, if you walk a couple of streets in the wrong direction in San Francisco, you'll get into like the fucking drug overdose district. If you walk a couple of districts in the wrong direction in Rome, you'll fucking go into this beautiful Roman fucking park, and there'll be like orange trees there. You'll be the only person there. There'll be like the ruins of a villa. You'll like walk up to it. You'll be like, fuck, can you imagine what it was like to live here in this time? And like, it's a very different feel. But no, I definitely got. I mean, Rome is one of these places where the Romans really feel very attached to the stuff. Whereas actually, what happened was the whole city got completely razed to the ground about 10 fucking times to the point that no one lived there for about 200 years at all. And then the church sort of moved back in, and then that all got kicked out again and burned to the ground. And then they came back in again.
Do you know who's been there continuously? Do you know who's been there continuously? Those lads from Bangladesh selling those fucking toys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're the most sort of dedicated Romans that they have.
Centurion, would you like to buy a splitting
selfish
thing with
us? Bracelet for you.
I got a friendship bracelet for you.
Only one denarius. What the fuck?
Here's the way I see it as well. Those guys might also be selling drugs. So if I'm selling you a little squishy thing, what's to say that I don't just walk up and give you the code phrase, I would like to buy some drugs, please, and you give me one from the other box. So you could sell drugs in public as well. I'm just trying to, I'm an entrepreneur. I come up with these ideas.
Hidden in plain sight.
Do you know what I also saw a lot of? I saw like 5 or 6 people who were high on aerosols doing those space pictures.
Yeah.
Right? do you know those fucking guys who do the space pictures with the dirty saucers and like the fucking
go to Europe
plates?
And take trains around Europe. Holy crap, you will see some shit. Train stations seem to be like the universal meeting place for people who like to get high on aerosols.
Yeah, why do they go to the bus station and the train station?
It's always the bus or the train station. I don't know. These places are just the scummiest places.
Fumes.
Wait,
it's unbelievable.
It's obvious when you think about it. Who's coming and going from those places?
Oh,
Tourists.
Oh,
I
man,
mean,
it's
the
just-
only time anyone's ever tried to rip me off in London was when I was at Victoria on my way to the coach station. I'm not a tourist, but I was going to the coach station anyway. And this guy said to me, "Oh, excuse me, mate, I really need some help." And I said, "What's the problem?" Because I had only been living in London for like a couple of years at that point, I think. And I was just kind of a little inexperienced with bullshit. So the guy comes up and says, "I need some help." And I said, "Oh, what's the matter?" Because I like to help people. And he says, "I need 12 quid to get back. I just, I've lost my wallet." This is the oldest fucking con trick in the book, right? They tell you they need some money, give me your address, I'll mail it to you and all the rest of it. I'm never giving this guy money in a million years. But I said to him, "I don't think it's a great idea, mate." I'm like, no thanks. And he said, "Just come into this alleyway over here and we can talk about it." Like, he literally wanted to take me to an alleyway because it's broad daylight. He couldn't drag me there. He wanted to invite me there. And I guess at that point, he mugs me. And I'm thinking, that's the reason these skeezy people hang around, is because you don't, like, you either go to the tourist spots, but there's always police there. Police don't give a fuck about the coach and the train station. They're hardly ever there. It's just people
I don't
getting
know.
on the
Like
coach and getting on the
nowadays,
train.
they are like in London. you see
nowadays
them
they are.
everywhere. Yeah.
oh my
But it
god!
didn't used to be that way. Back
No.
in the good old days when you could scam people free from police
I
attention.
remember back in my day.
I had 3
used
cups
to be able to
and a
scam
ball.
everybody. They called me Mr. Scam Man. Now
Went on a tour of Europe by train. I went to Rome. Scam.
I didn't just tie friendship bracelets around people's hands.
I
I
was
tried
selling the-
belts around their waists. I tried handcuffs. I tried nooses around their necks. I'd sell them anything.
I trip them up and tell them
I
they broke
sold
my
those
leg.
Goopa things that you chuck on the ground and they got eyes. They make a noise. I sold a lot
There
of
is
those
someone
too.
out there where that's basically their life story. What have you done for the last 10 years? Traveled around Europe, sold a bunch of crappy shit to tourists.
That's on your.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you for applying for the position of bank manager. We're just looking through your CV here, and it looks like you got about
There's a few
a
gaps.
There's a 15-year gap here where it says that you sold dancing Mickey Mouse wire figurines.
Yes, it was a booming market at the time.
In
of
Rome?
course, yeah,
On
in
a
Rome,
blanket?
in Rome,
On the
Barcelona,
ground?
yes, all those places. Paris as well. Very well travelled. Very well travelled. Met a lot of people. Sold very few bracelets.
Fuck's sake.
The uptake rate was very low, but fortunately, the pass-through of people was so heavy that I was able to just steal a lot of money out of people's wallets
Oh.
as they went
Also,
by.
since I slept at the coach station and showered there, my outgoings were very low. I was able
Excellent
to.
facilities, by the way. Excellent facilities. 5 stars every time.
Well, I think this interview is over. You're hired, sir. Clearly qualified.
You're overly qualified.
Overqualified, in fact.
I think you need to be more corrupt to work here as a bank
What
manager.
would be your first suggestion if you were to take on management of this bank? Well, we need some more Bangladeshi gentlemen in the lobby area.
Very hard
Selling
working.
squishy, screaming
Yeah, but
toys.
do we have an adequate pool of Senegalese that we can
They need to be very pushy. Very pushy.
Find me the pushiest Senegalese you can. They must all be gigantic.
Gigantic.
Oh
Some
my-
Senegalese newspaper carrying an advert. Tall, intimidating, pushy.
Very black.
Come to England. You can work in a bank.
I would say, like, you know those guys who do that fucking space art on the floor, like, and what they do is you look at them and they look like the dirtiest homeless guy ever, and he's like got some like pink spray paint, up his nose from where he's been sniffing it or whatever, like, and they're using like the dirtiest, like mismatched set of plates and pots and pans to do these art, and they have like a dirty bit of newspaper or whatever, and they tear off a bit of that, and they sort of skankily drop that on the fucking art, but it comes out like looking great, like looking really
Great. It's
do you know
not
what I mean?
great. It's
They
garbage.
I know, but they always manage to make them look like the same. Like every time you see it, they've been doing these for about fucking 30 years, right? These street art fucking space scenes, okay? And they're obviously very simple, and obviously they can teach the next, aerosol-addled lunatic to do them, but like, I don't know, there's something there, like you can see that it's just not shit enough to get people to buy it. But the whole like fact that they're selling it on the street and making it with such skanky materials is so off-putting at the same time.
So middle class.
You wasn't fucking Michelangelo was not fucking lying on his back at the top of the fucking Sistine Chapel with a fucking aerosol and a fucking dirty bit of newspaper being like, oh yeah, let me just do God's sexy ribbed abs, yeah. Oh, quick, get that fucking bit of newspaper. We need that to like smear it. It's like, oh yeah, dirtier. Get a saucer. I need to do the sun. It's like, what the fuck are you? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a contrast. Oh, but also, there's so much art and so many sculptors. They obviously did have like schools of people being taught. You know, often artists sort of took their pupils and they did the faces until their pupil just did all the background until they were good enough. You know, they were certainly like in the back of the day, they had like teams of apprentices.
Yeah, I mean, think how long it takes to paint a massive painting. You don't want to do all the blue in the background. Get some fucking lad to do the blue bit, and then you'll touch it up and make it look good.
I guess what I'm saying is that there's probably people like that in the streets as well, like the guys who sell like all the selfie sticks. They're like training up the young selfie stick guys, you know. And they're
here's what saddens
you have to
me.
say selfie louder.
There
you have
must
to push
be.
it.
There must have been a time when instead of selling this tat, these people would have had either a trade or a job somewhere. What's happened? That means that, I mean, is it just that there are fewer and fewer need? We've spoken a little about advancement before in technology and everything, but we've got 8 billion people. Surely that should mean there's a shitload of jobs. Why aren't these guys doing something more productive?
Is it robots?
Digging a giant hole or fucking filling in
robots,
a hole they didn't want anymore? Something like that.
But is it that their only other options are working in a horrible factory making fucking cheap jumpers for, you know, H&M?
Right, but
whatever,
people have been doing those shit jobs for years. So what's changed that now these guys would rather travel to Italy and frankly do a pretty humiliating job selling these things? What has changed that means that they now want to go there and do something as a group? Like, they're all coming from probably the same area and they probably know each other. Oh, that's my cousin, that's my cousin's mate, you know, all this kind of stuff.
I mean, the weather's quite nice.
It's not nicer than it is in Bangladesh, is it? I mean, are things so bad in Senegal and Bangladesh that you would rather go to Rome and sell crap? And I'm sure they don't live a particularly nice life. I mean, I feel awful for the fact that this is what they have to do. These are young men with nothing better to do, really? Like, what the fuck has happened?
I think you could look at all over the world and see people in trouble.
Yeah, but they've managed to get to Italy.
I'm angry about them, but I also feel very sorry for them.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what the fuck is... This isn't the future. This can't be the future. The poor people just have to go to rich places. It is like a cyberpunk that they get from China.
This is the kind of shit that you'd see. Yeah,
that's just depressing.
That's what would be in Cyberpunk 2030. When that new one comes out, Cyberpunk 2047 or whatever.
Which I'm kind of like. I mean, I'm looking forward to, but at the same time, I'm like,
there's going to be guys like selling selfie sticks on the street. What's the new selfie stick? Do you know what I mean? What is the next thing
in the cyberpunk world?
Because already selfie sticks are getting a bit like fucking, you know, your gran has them and your mum has them, you know, but they've already turned the corner. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the next? I mean, what were they selling 10 years ago? Because selfie sticks weren't a thing then. Were they selling like hats?
They were selling those wiggly worms on a little invisible thread. I always used to see people selling those.
Yeah.
What about invisible dogs?
Yeah, the invisible dog, the dog
collar.
They
were selling those too.
I used to see those when I was a kid. I haven't seen an invisible dog in years.
Yeah.
Didn't see them at the time either, but I mean, I haven't seen the leash either.
They're missing out on a marketplace.
When I was a kid, I saw a guy walking along in the street with one of those. This is when I lived in New York, and he had one of these invisible dog things. I was blown away. Like, I was like 6, 7 years old. I could not believe it. And my mum was like, it's not real. It's just a leash. Like, I was like, oh, he's got an invisible dog. Like, I could not believe what I was seeing. Ugh.
Yeah.
How young I was.
Exactly. But what I'm talking about is like that kind of stuff. Like, I was sold selfie sticks and bracelets. Where's the other stuff? Do you know what I mean? Be more diverse.
Yeah.
You know, we're in it's 2019.
You need to diversify your portfolio, my dear man. I want to go back to Senegal.
There's got to be more stuff that we need. You know, no one was selling bottles of water. I guess they're too heavy to bring in from the States.
That's not true. When we went to the Colosseum, there were lots of people selling bottles of water. Lots and lots and lots.
Maybe it wasn't hot enough?
Here's an advancement for you that I've been reading about. A buddy of mine sent me this New York Times article about these pilots in the American Air Force. I think they fly Hornets or something like that. The plane, not the insect. And they have seen these weird things on their radar and then when they get them on their little infrared camera, it's like moving unbelievably fast, changing direction, all the usual kind of UFO crap. And I kind of dismissed it because I've heard all this kind of stuff before. But I was like, why is this in the New York Times? Like, that's like a legit publication. They interviewed these guys and they confirmed the story. Like, these are actual Air Force pilots. So the Air Force is like saying, we don't want to do, like, they made official reports and everything. This is all above board. You can look it up. So me and a buddy of mine who are into this kind of stuff He listens to the Triforce podcast.
Sorry, so what are they seeing? Like fast-moving
Very
UFOs?
fast-moving
You're saying
objects, and so they can be
whereabouts?
quite high
How
up.
high?
Well, they can be quite high up, or they can be very low, like very very low to the sea. So they spotted these things.
So what? Navy and Air Force pilots flying like fucking F-16s,
Yeah.
at fucking Mach 3 or whatever, really fast, are seeing things that are moving even faster,
and almost
on their
like
radar.
stopping and then going like unbelievable changes of speed and direction, like
like a UFO.
literally the same thing that we would normally think, oh, it's a UFO. So
Okay.
that was the
Zipping
story,
around.
and my friend and I talked about it a bit, and
And it
we
was in
came
the
to
New
the
York
usual
Times.
conclusion: it's a load of bollocks. But here's where it gets interesting. There was an article in the Metro last week about how the U.S. Navy has patented these new kinds of drone, or like a new way of flying that basically removes inertia from the equation. Okay, so you can go very fast and then stop, or go from almost stop to very fast, and there's no inertia, there's no problem with it. Like, it reduces it to like 10% of what it would be or something. So if that technology is real, they might be sort of preparing people for the fact that this game-changing piece of technology is about to come out. I urge people to have a look at it. I was intrigued. It's probably absolute bollocks. I'm not one of these the truth is out there types. I'm just saying that these are like actual newspapers are running stories that have an element of truth to them and are quite interesting. So that could
There
be the
was a
next
story
big thing.
about that this week because there were a load of UFO sightings, and it turned out that Elon Musk was just sending up like 100 new satellites or whatever.
Right.
So everyone was
But
like,
a lot of this
what
is
the
like
fuck are all
these are
these
not
things?
manned vehicles yet. Like, these are drones and things like that. They're probably quite small, but the fact that they can move as fast as they do, and they can move underwater as well, you could move them in space. Like, the speed potential is ridiculous. So it's like a new way of traveling that we haven't really thought of before. So just interesting. Thought it was interesting. I thought it was. I always hope it's aliens, because I figure they'll say we will push the climate fixo button. Also,
Old man yells at
here
the
is
sky.
the perfect government, and all this stuff. We'd be like, oh my god, we're saved. But instead,
Well, sometimes I fucking
never will
think
be.
like that that our technology was given us by aliens. Like, do you know what I mean? Like how fucking complicated is a mobile phone?
Not
like
very.
The miniaturization and the fucking 4G.
right? But think how
and
many
internet.
years it took for us to get
Like,
there.
oh.
It took us 100 years.
I know it's not aliens, but it's dazzlingly complicated because it's been an iterative process.
Yes.
I get it the whole way. You could look at like a hard drive and see that they used to be like the size of a fucking room, and you could see every single. It's like an evolution of man. Each hard drive gets smaller and smaller, right? Until you've got like a fucking micro SD card with like more memory than a fucking
Each hard
Apple
drive
Mac.
less hairy than the last. That's the key to advancement.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, like fucking aliens, man. I don't think they're real, but
You don't?
Well, they are real. I just don't think they're coming here. It's too far.
right. Okay.
But anyway,
Well,
I thought this
mean,
was an interesting piece of technology, and if it's real, I mean, it could change transport. It would be incredible
Wait, you don't believe that there's aliens out there?
in the universe, Lewis.
Yeah,
Well,
in
no,
the
I
whole
believe that
universe.
there's-
You don't believe that
I just
there's
don't believe
any-
they know about us or
No,
are
no.
in
No,
any
no.
way
No,
interacting with us.
I don't think that for a second.
You don't think they've
There's
been
definitely
secretly...
aliens, like but who knows how advanced
You don't think
they
that
are.
they've been secretly living under the ground here the whole time,
No.
watching us and
I'd
manipulating
love
us?
I'd love to find some aliens and see what they are. Like
You
but
would?
I reckon, yeah.
Wow.
They're fucking awesome. Holy shit.
Yes, I think most people would.
Yeah.
But I spoke to a friend of mine, and he pointed out that the unlikeliness of us being here is like, it's so slim. Our planet has to be the right size, the right distance from the sun. It has to have liquid water. It has to have so much going on for life to even have a chance of forming.
Yeah, it has to have like buffer planets
All
to like
kinds
clear
of
out all the
stuff, yeah.
asteroids that would have wiped out Earth life every like million years.
But I've
or
heard
whatever.
I read a book about aliens, and the guy basically said, well, the probability may be small, but the fact that we exist is like 100% we do. So therefore,
Yeah.
there must be
The
other
fact
aliens,
that we
which I thought was
exist
kind of sketchy
says
logic.
that other
but-
people should exist.
But yeah, the
Fuck,
idea
what
that
if we
there are-
don't, though? Have you ever thought...
What if we don't exist?
Yeah.
Simulation
What
theory?
if we're ghosts?
What if it's
A
like
ghost
Super Mario
podcast?
2 and it's just a dream? It's all just a dream.
Well, that's what Elon Musk thinks, isn't it? It's that we're all simulation.
Well,
He
yeah,
genuinely
simulation
thinks it.
theory is it's not
It's a good one.
impossible. That's the question you've got to ask. Is it impossible that we're a simulation? No.
Well, it would be easy to simulate.
I'd love
right?
to see
Because,
the
you know,
reports on me, like
Yeah.
post simulation, because man, I watch a lot of weird porn.
Unit 3848473748B.
God, like the process is working overtime to generate like brand new
Oh, it
fucking
looks
weird
like
shit for
subject
you to watch.
6969 is watching weird porn again. Oh, Jesus
Filing
Christ.
under,
Lenny.
Allocate more
no news today.
Allocate more round to Sips. We have to
fuck's
create
sake.
new stuff.
I wonder if they're watching.
How's he watched all of it already?
I wonder if they're watching the shit that we come up with and thinking, why are these amazing creations that we simulated just fucking playing video games all day? We should never have added video games into the simulations. Ruined.
Why are they trying to make a simulation? Why are they not living the simulation that we made for them?
Yeah.
I'd be so disappointed.
Why did they put so many Senegalese and Bengalese men in Rome in the simulation?
What a crappy simulation we are.
We ran the numbers,
that's
and
true.
it turns out that we've accidentally put too many of these men in Rome, and we've given them too many shit wares to sell.
There's
as
not
well.
enough jobs
Wares.
to have to sell
The
selfie
balance
sticks.
is off.
We did the numbers
We gotta
all
take
wrong.
it down for maintenance. We'll take Rome offline.
Reset it all.
2 hours. We have to rebalance and recalibrate the economy.
Holy shit. Okay, that's Triforce for today. All right, thanks everybody. That was a good one. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Where we back to business as normal, talking about the same old shit week in, week out.
That's
because
right.
I won't have gone away.
If there's
anonymous
one
with
thing
it.
you can depend on,
It's
is
the
that
same
we will be talking about the
shit.
same old.
All right, thanks everybody. Love you. Bye. Love you, baby.
Bye, Patreon.
Bye.
Patreon.